you go through so many experiences, you see so much happening around you. I think all of it comes together and you join the dots when you're writing something like that. But about this subject, I wanted to talk about it, but in a very entertaining and engaging way, because I think films should entertain and engage. And our job is not to change the world, but to start a conversation. So it was always a comedy in my head. Even the one-line story was about a mother-daughter trying to set the daughter's marriage on track. And they come up with bizarre ways to do it because the daughter's in love with the husband. The husband also actually truly, madly, deeply loves her. So how do they set it straight because of that one problem that they have? So it's already a comedy in that sense. And when I went to Alia, I think that's what I also told her, that listen, there is a message which is representing this society that we're talking about, but we want to entertain and engage, and I think she liked that a lot.
Darlings, a non-theatrical release on the OTT platform Netflix created a buzz among the audience before its release. It was because of two reasons, or three: Alia Bhatt, domestic violence issue, and Netflix non-stop promotion. The first two were the major ones and both reflected the audience's minds. Domestic violence indeed is a sensitive issue, and hence, we must acknowledge the movie's subject and its background before we come to the judgment of whether it is a good watch or not. To be honest, I would like to talk about this as the recent trend of boycotting darlings on the basis of promoting domestic violence was absurd, and I would like to share a little on it. We will dive a little deep into the background of the movie subject, that is domestic violence, especially from India's context. Then we will move on with the review and analysis of darlings in relation to the background and as a film. By the way, I will give my best for people yet to watch darlings, keeping the video free of any potential major spoilers.
We were deliriously laughing.
Let's begin with the background containing a brief overview of domestic violence in India. Whoever wishes to skip the background and jump on the review can skip the video to the timestamp mentioned above. According to this report of the International Center for Research on Women, ICRW, published in 2000, reporting of any violence was highest by rural women followed by women in urban slum areas. The study in the same page also mentions that about 50% reported in the study that they experienced the violence during pregnancy. This chart shows the percentage of women in the study facing severe physical violence during the pregnancy, 4 different forms of physical violence. The study also hints at one of the reasons for violence being the husband's suspicion over the wife's faithfulness and loyalty. It mentions that 80% of women in the study reported this as a reason for their husband hitting or beating them. Analysis of the final findings considered alcohol consumption a potential driver for domestic violence on women. The report states that more than half of the women who reported their husbands got drunk once a week reported their husbands hit, kicked, or beat them. The 3 hypotheses in the study were proven right that states: first, physical family violence against women is more prevalent among the lower socio-economic classes and among women with lower levels of social support. Second, family violence against women is more prevalent among families in which the husband uses alcohol. Third, family violence against women is more prevalent among women who witnessed their father beat their mothers during their childhood. According to BBC, the lockdown imposed in 2020 also showed a spike in domestic violence cases. The National Commission of Women received 239 complaints of domestic violence, higher than 123 complaints received alone in February, perhaps. During lockdown, countries other than India also showed spikes in the domestic violence cases. There have been reports that many domestic violence cases against women go unreported in India, says a news report from The Wire. While this is the women's side, violence against men mostly go unnoticed and is shrugged off casually and is looked upon more as funny. The blog post from Your Dost dedicates a whole section to domestic violence against men. They states that according to a survey conducted by the National Family Health Survey (NFHS) in 2004, about 60 lakh women perpetrated physical violence against husbands without any provocation. Interestingly, the survey don't even mention asking from men about the violence they faced. An IndianExpress.com news article mentions that as many as 1,774 men from 22 states across India called a helpline to a NGO seeking help for domestic violence from their wives. And I'm being blunt, otherwise the article uses a gender-neutral word such as spouse and not wives. Both the Wikipedia pages dedicated on talking about violence against men speaks so much broadly on the matter, as not only women are considered as an abuser, also men themselves. Men part of LGBTQIA+ community are also considered and acknowledged. Well, the page dedicated to men's rights movement in India also mentions about Satyamev Jayate controversy back in 2012 that also made headlines on Twitter as trend for boycotting Darling Stop. According to the description and the image shared on Twitter, Save India Family Foundation (SIFF) criticized one of the episodes of Satyamev Jayate where the theme was domestic violence. They complained that it is a one-sided portrayal of domestic violence issue, and I will agree with it. However, the second controversy in 2014 made headlines as Wikipedia page states that domestic violence data from the National Family Health Survey surveyed only women from 15 to 49 age. This is clearly the case that we talked earlier about how authorities taking survey are to be held responsible more than the representatives of the show. However, again, acknowledging men's abuse and their rights has to be done when we are talking about domestic violence as a general issue. Deepika Bhardwaj, a journalist, documentary filmmaker, and men's rights activist, produced a documentary for violence against men. The documentary titled Martyrs of Marriage features real-life cases of men falling a prey to the false charges from their wives. Documentary comprised of not just featuring the suffered men, but also goes in details about how the 498A law is being misused by countless of women in India and even authorities assisting them in their evil plans, making it a business. Even when judicial system of India acknowledges that women also are abusing men by abusing the laws offered to them for protection, there have been no laws for men to protect themselves from such women. In almost all the cases here, except for YourThose.com blog post, each has represented a one-sided view on domestic violence in India. But if we simply focus on Wikipedia pages, for example, wouldn't it make sense to think that maybe it is not a one-sided view, but focused on presenting one-sided view? Deepika's documentary was also accused by feminist circles and Women Commission that it shows one-sided argument and puts women in a bad spotlight. This is not accurate as the documentary focuses on telling the plights of men because of women and people who assist these women. It will look like one-sided because it isn't focusing on showing a two-sided view on domestic violence. To be honest, it's a never-ending cycle to accuse someone or something showing one-sided view of a particular subject. You have to see and observe that whatever documentary or movie we are watching, promising to us what? Is it about only men? Is it only about women? Or is it about everyone regardless of age, gender, sexuality, race, color, culture and ethnicity? Same way, Darlings is not a piece of art meant to demean the plight of men facing abuses, but focuses on a woman facing abuses from a man, her lover turned husband. While I agree that this is the only narrative we are seeing consistently from the filmmakers for years, but isn't it common sense to think that we can't blame a movie like Darlings promoting domestic violence against men and holding it responsible for everything that is happening bad? We have to create awareness about men's abuse, their rights, and hopefully seeing a movie made on the same subject. Darlings simply is a narrative about a woman facing abuse from a man, and she reacts to him with the same torment he made her go through. Even Netflix's own movie synopsis states this: Badru hopes her volatile husband will reform if he stops drinking. However, when his rage goes too far, she and her mum boldly, albeit clumsily, seek revenge. Albeit clumsily. They know what this movie is about and are also criticizing the actions of women in the movie. But the next question will be then, why these women are doing that to him? It's all in the movie and I can't reveal it. On that note, let's come to Darlings now. Darlings as a movie feel like a fresh take on the domestic violence subject, as we have not seen any movie so far that presents such a sensitive topic with humor and yet keeps it rooted to the grounds. Domestic violence as a subject has been a pretty recurring theme in most Indian movies, but it is hardly acknowledged and tackled as an issue. Movies like Thappad by Anubhav Sinha will speak more in a sensible manner and give us substance to chew on. Yet, Thappad was not focused on representing a tale of domestic violence per se. Instead, it was a narrative about mutual respect for each other in a marriage and being a couple. Darling's theme is domestic violence and it reminds you that it is about that only. Still, if you look at the mannerism of Vijay Varma in relation to Alia Bhatt, you will find a layered story. The story is set in a suburban chawl of Mumbai where Alia Bhatt is playing Badru, who faces abuse from Vijay Varma playing his husband named Hamza. Both were a couple involved in a romantic relationship and had a love marriage. Hamza is manipulative and takes advantage of Badru's love for him. He asserts his control over her by casual flattery and apologizes. He is also an ill-tempered man with an inflated ego. He can't handle provocation from his opposite gender, whether it is his wife or his mother-in-law, played by Shefali Shah, named Shamshu. Shamshu, on the other hand, is one support Badru has in her life, other than the casual friend of the mother-daughter duo named Zulfi, played by Roshan Mathew. There is another character lurking around here named Coercive, played by Rajesh Sharma. Who is he and what is his purpose? This all was revealed in the ending of Darlings. Vijay Varma as Hamza not only physically abuses Badru but also creates coercive control, putting her on the spectrum of different forms of abuse. Badru is emotionally and mentally abused as well by Hamza. However, one big event takes a turn in Hamza and Badru's life and reverses the gender. This sort of creates imagery to portray the famous expression, an eye for an eye, but also encompasses and stretches it further by symbolizing an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Being a dark comedy, Darlings offers audiences pretty good gigs and gags. In no way at all does the movie try to glorify violence against men. It gives you a possible portrayal of a world where abusive men are punished for their wrongdoings. In contrast to the background shown earlier in the video, the movie stands in parallel to the real-life dynamics of domestic violence. Hamza's abuse becomes forced when he drinks alcohol, like how one of the hypotheses found alcohol being the prime driver of abuse in Indian households, as discussed in the background. The abuses during pregnancy are frequent too, which is also shown in the movie and was the biggest turning point for Alia's character. As discussed in the background, women from rural areas faces the most abuses, followed by slum areas in the city. Darlings was set in a chawl representing low socio-economic status of the characters. Women coming from the household backgrounds where their mother were abused are also the ones who tolerate the most abuse. While this is shown in the movie, it has been transformed well for Alia's character, breaking the cycle at the end. The ending of the Darlings took me by surprise. We met a surprising end where we have two parallels of domestic violence abuse. The two characters of the daughter and mother portray the parallel. While one shows the abused becomes the abuser, the other shows the abused becomes a survivor, balancing right and wrong. A survivor who has a right judgment in him/her to call the cards when they need to do so. In a nutshell, the best thing about Darlings is the cast, performances and layered writing by Parveez Sheikh and Jasmeet K. Reen, the director of Darlings. Alia Bhatt and Vijay Varma stole the show. The bad thing about Darlings is its underwhelming execution where jokes are just not enough to save the movie from criticism. Darlings is a debut directorial for Jasmeet, who has done a great job in representing a well-written story. Yet, the movie falls flat on the ground for its cheeky jokes and repetitive predictability factor. Music by Vishal Bhardwaj and melody uplift the movie story with Gulzar Saab penning the songs for the movie again after Thappad. Whereas in Thappad, a more subtle tone was encapsulated by Gulzar Saab. In Darlings, a more humorous tone has been encapsulated to match the movie's tone. There are not many points to discuss the technical factors in the movie, so I will pass on, but do let me know if I am missing something here. That's all from my side for review and analysis of the recently released Darlings starring Alia Bhatt and Vijay Varma, which is available on the OTT platform Netflix. That's all from my side for review and analysis of the recently released Darlings starring Alia Bhatt and Vijay Varma, which is available on the OTT platform Netflix to stream. Like this video if you like my efforts, comment down below what you have to say about the movie, domestic violence or anything else. Share this video further as it will help me grow my reach and viewership. Lastly, consider subscribing if you are new to my channel and liked what you just saw. Feel free to check my other videos and I will see you the next time. Peace out.
मखदूम का जो केस हुआ